Four of them, we're saying these three, Turnus, Strite, and Baker, they're the ones that are up. They're the ones that you have the constitutional right to rule on, or to vote on. Second thing is that they have concluded that the defendants, they said, failed to prove that there's a difference between a man and a man and a man and a woman. Now think about that. Is that very hard? If you had somebody in third grade that had taken the birds and the bees and they didn't understand that, would you put them back to second grade? I would. Take that course again. It's not that hard. But this court was determined that they were going to find the decision they were going to have regardless of the law, regardless of the Constitution, and that was the only conclusion that they could make in order to backfigure this into the decision that they came up with. In other words, there's no difference in their minds between a man and a woman. That's their conclusion. That also, from a judicial standpoint, is reason to remove them. Third thing, they wrote that they have found rights in the Constitution that were, and I quote, up to this point unimagined. Now, even if you believed in all kinds of different arrangements for marriage, you ought to be against these judges for saying that there are unimagined rights in the Constitution that they alone have discovered. And if you remember in Roe versus Wade in '73, the U.S. Supreme Court found rights that were in the emanations and the penumbras, meaning in the shadows. We've argued about that for a long, long time, since '73. They found rights they said we couldn't see. They were in the shadows. They were learned justices. They could go read them and find them in the dark. The right to privacy. Here are rights created by these Supreme Court justices, rights that up to this point were unimagined. That's those words. That's their words. And that's reason enough to remove them from office. Also, the structure that we have on how we select judges. A commission of 13, 3 that are appointed by the Iowa Bar. That means they have to be successful in the politics of the Iowa Bar. We know the Iowa Bar is stacked and loaded on the Democrat side. 6 also chosen by the governor. Over the last 12 years, that's Governor Vilsack, Governor Culver. So there's 12 of that panel to choose the 3 that go before the governor for his selection. 13th one is someone chosen off of the Supreme Court itself, not the Chief Justice. So you've got 13 people that are selecting a list of 3, all bad choices, perhaps. Between the devil and the deep blue sea is what I say. It's a bad structure that produces this kind of a result. And here we are, trying to defend our constitutional rights with a system that's going to give us more of the same if we don't fix it. But in the short term, here's what we need to do. We need to remove these 3 judges, Turnus, Strite, and Baker. We need to vote no, no, and no. Because it's your right to do so. That's your right. And don't let anybody tell you that you don't have that right, and don't let anybody tell you that you don't have good enough judgment to make that decision, and don't let them try to tell you that somehow this upsets the system in such a way that we would have a scrambled Department of Justice. They have scrambled it, and you have the right to fire them. In fact, Iowa is an at-will state, and these are at-will judges. That means that you can fire somebody for any reason, your reasons, whatever they might be, or no reason at all. And you can do that with the judges, and you need to do it with the judges, and send a message all the way across America.